If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Last time on Lawful Stupid. This very dense forest right now. It takes you quite a while before you break tree line. You start forward and you notice quickly that this hill, as you're kind of like roaming down the slope, has like a sudden edge. And when you peer down, you are able to see a large door.
Eureka! Everyone, we seem to have found the door that we were looking for.
And you guys walk into this cavern.
Anybody hungry?
And you guys hear a little bit later, you kind of hear it echo back very faintly.
They want to know if we're hungry too.
That's what it sounds like.
You finally see the back wall of this place. You're able to see it as there's rows of these houses. And in the back wall, there is what can only be described as a 2.5-story temple with these very unique statues along the back of them. The three of you find yourself at the foot of this long staircase, leading up into a building about 2.5 feet, 2.5 stories, not feet, excuse me, stories up. You see an entrance that kind of is inlaid into the wall. You can tell there's this large building that's kind of stacked on itself. As you look up the staircase, you see three dragon statues on each side of the...
Much better.
Yeah,
that's better.
Yeah, 3 dragon statues.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, you see the staircase, and I mentioned statues last episode, and they are very simple dragon statues. None of them are, like, detailed from one another, but 3 dragon statues.
Okay.
And as you
how
take
are they
in...
a lot?
Go ahead.
How are they like arrayed? Are they like facing each other?
They are all facing forward, and they are evenly spaced. It's very much like a decoration, right? Like you can tell. Somebody put some planning into it. And that is where our view shift is going to change a little bit. We find ourselves in the backyard of the Declan Derringer estate. And you see the Derringer reunion that you guys had, the last one you guys had. And we see Kato, and we see Darling, and we see Gus. And the three of you are chatting, but as we come into this view, as this camera swings in, and there's a couple dozen as the camera sweeps over, as our view sweeps over this mismatched group of misfits. Darling did not skip all reunions, if I'm correct.
She skipped the last 2 because earlier on she was too young.
Yeah, but I said the last one you guys were all at.
Okay.
Boom.
Then we're good.
Because age isn't important here, but what is important is you hear the voice a Vanessa Derringer. And she's talking to you three as the three of you have gathered around, and Vanessa, as she fills your view, is this purple-skinned tiefling, and she has these thin spectacles that she wears, and it has a very studious look. And she says to the three of you, and you all know her to be this way, very studious, very interested in things that most other people aren't. But she says, did you know there are those out there that believe that the doors lead to other worlds? More than just the ones that contain the fiends? They even theorize that the Pillar Gods aren't the only gods that exist. Imagine that. A world where Sinlor, Wen, Ryle, and Aya aren't the top of the food chain? I'd love to see what else is out there someday. What do you guys think? Do you guys believe that?
You've just described to me a scenario in which there are multiple worlds full of new food to eat. I'm intrigued.
I also once heard someone describe multiple infinities. This seems like it'd be an acceptable possibility.
Darling just raises up her beloved book of Wen and just kind of like shows it like, nah, that's probably just stories.
Maybe they are stories. But I believe every story is, there's a grain of truth. There has to be something else out there.
And you think the doors are the way to simply meet the gods?
Maybe not gods, maybe other worlds. But who created the Pillar Gods? Somebody had to.
Beep. Recalibrating. That is a good question. Who created me? And this is the first time that Kato has had a life, just this crossroads.
First existential moment of Kato.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I hear those stories. I hope I learn more about other gods, other worlds.
Okay, then I will find them and I will make them too.
I don't know. I got to thinking about it, and the fiends come out of those doors, right? So, like,
They do.
maybe it's not worth the noms.
But what if there are other doors on their world? What if
it just leads to super fiends?
That's true.
What if behind every door it's just worse and worse and worse?
What if they think we're the bad guys?
What if we are the bad guys?
But we've never spoken to them.
There's just so much out there that we don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to walk into some of the other siblings' rooms. That sounds like a bad idea, but some of them are okay to go into. You find fun stuff in there.
You go to my room again?
No.
And that's where the darkness fills your vision again. And the three of you find yourselves outside these staircases. What do you guys do?
Am I aware that I just had a vision trip?
No. That was just for the listeners.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going up.
Yeah.
So you guys
up those stairs.
make a ton of noise.
Oh fuck! I forgot. No, I'm sorry. I just like to do that sometimes.
So you guys go up these stairs, and you reach. So the way these stairs go, you go up, and then when you hit the plateau, there's about like a 30-40 foot walk to the door, or the entrance. And as you crest over these stairs, you're able to see a figure crouched near the threshold, like examining the outside of the door, like a humanoid figure. And this would be when Neko makes her appearance. Neko, you find yourself crouched against this door frame, examining the markings.
Okay. I guess let me go ahead and describe my character for you guys real fast.
Please.
Yeah. So, you would recognize one of your siblings, your sister. Her name, Zira is her name? Zira. She's a half-elf. She's a little younger than Darling by a couple of years. She's 19. Got bright blonde hair, like platinum blonde, really cropped short and super messy. Kind of darker toned tan skin and bright green emerald eyes. And currently she's dressed kind of in like leather armor and like kind of stealthy adventuring gear. I don't know what else I'm supposed to describe. This is my first time reading.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. How tall is she?
Pretty much it.
Oh, average height about 5'2" or so. That's average-ish for a half.
Average for
For a
who?
half
A little
elf.
on the shorter side.
Yeah. I mean, I generated it from the half-elf chart. I don't know what to tell you.
Short race. You would know, Zira, that you are steps ahead of them. That you have found the same notes that they found. You're not far behind Vanessa, but steps ahead of them. And you found the door already open. The door that said sealed as well.
Okay. And then this door is closed? The one that I'm currently examining?
This threshold is an open threshold, but you were examining the runes around it.
Wonderful.
Because you don't understand the language.
Is that Zira?
Let's turn around.
By when it is.
Huh.
I'm gonna run up and wrap her up in a big old panda bear hug.
You just kind of get a shove self out of your grip.
How are you doing? Have you eaten today?
You don't know what sort of creatures are around here. Why are you yelling?
So excited to see you.
You'd be glad to see me quieter.
Okay. Have you eaten today?
Yes.
Good.
What are you doing here?
I'm trying to figure out what this says. Can any of you read it?
Can I read
Anyway.
it, Dwayne?
Yeah, with my Qiojib, can I read it?
Yes. Kato. Gosh, I was blanking on your name. Kato, you're able to read the words around the door. And so on the left-hand side of this door frame... I thought I linked it. There we go. Yeah. On the left-hand side of this door frame, you see the words air and fire. And then above the door frame is light and dark. And to the right is water and land.
And I will, of course, relay that to everyone. And just so one more time.
To the left is air and fire. Above the door frame is light and dark. And to the right is water and land. And these are written in
Qiojib?
Geoswarm, thank you. I had to pull off the language for a second. Yep. Geoswarm. Yep.
I am not sure why I know this, but I explained to them around it's kind of touching the runes or the whatever how it's written as we go around.
Mm-hmm.
The elements. But I don't know what it means.
Can I peek through the doorway? What's on the other side?
When you look through the threshold, there's a long hallway. You can see it's good 30 feet back. Do you have dark vision? You're a half elf, right? You should have dark vision, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As I explain this, Gus, you have been smelling this whole time, if you recall, and you smell something familiar. You remember you were smelling something familiar, you couldn't quite place it. The person you met, you smell that type of smell. Their scent, not their specific scent, but the scent of that type of fur, that type of biological creature. You kind of get a whiff of that. And as you look down this hallway, Zira, you see a scattering of very still figures kind of laid against the wall, left and right, almost like methodically, like humanoid-shaped figures.
Okay.
So
my mental image is like
some sitting against the wall, some laying down.
And the door's open?
The door is wide open. There is no door. It is a threshold. It is a door frame.
Gus would want to walk through there and get a good look at these guys, see if they're okay, and we're taking them out.
Okay. So you approach. You walk through this threshold, and
immediately incinerated.
You immediately incinerated. Yep. You didn't say the proper prayer in Elvish, so
I wanted to go through the door when I went through the door in Elvish.
Yeah, that's the problem. You didn't have a plan, or you did have a plan. So you go up to the first corpse, and it looks like that person you met. Not exactly like it, but similar race.
Same species.
Same species, yes, thank you. And you're able to determine that it's dead.
You go.
Roll, no, you know what? You do you.
Can I see what the cause of death is?
Roll a
medicine check for that?
Investigation check.
Investigation check. I've rolled a 1.
I will send some dancing lights down the hallway.
So as you're investigating this, she sends dancing lights down the hallway and it kind of illuminates more of these figures.
You said that gets me advantage on the check.
I would not.
I've rolled a 1.
You know...
A dirty 1.
A 31 or a 1?
A dirty 1.
Oh, a dirty... I thought you said a 31. I was like, those are very different numbers.
A non-natural 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know it's dead. With a 1, like, you're not going to get a cause.
Yeah. These dudes are not alive.
I mean, would you... sometimes I'm like, I don't want to come back behind him. Can I also see if I can see what's wrong with maybe another body?
You cannot look... I'm not going to let you look for cause of death, right? Because that is just like double tapping for rolls. But if you want to try and ascertain something else from the bodies, if you want to try and like...
Yeah, how long have they been here maybe is what I want to know. How long have they been... How long does it look like they've been dead?
Roll an investigation check.
Skills.
Good one. Good answer. Good answer.
Been studying all night. It's a 7.
It's a 7. You know, with the 7, they've been here a while, but you don't have the faintest guess. It could have been months, it could have been years, it could have been decades. You just don't have a good gauge for that with a 7. But you know it's been a while. It's been longer than a few weeks. You are certain of that.
When I reach down to touch the body, like put my hands, can I feel warm, cold?
It's been dead for weeks, cold.
It's been dead for weeks. There's no heat in this thing at all.
Is this a tomb, or were they killed here?
I don't look like they've been laid to rest.
Can I?
So are we disturbing?
Can I check to see if this door, like if this threshold has a door in it, or like it looks like it can be closed, or is it just like an open archway?
It is just an open archway. There is no door function that you can tell.
Cool. But I feel less like I'm going to be trapped if I fall.
Yeah, I mean, there's always magical doors for sure, but but a magical force field does seal, and you hear "finish them." No,
the chamber begins to fill up with an acrid smoke. We're good.
You do not see a mechanical door.
Yeah, I guess keep on rolling.
Yeah, gonna follow them in too. A little concerned about all these bodies, though.
Yeah, if Gus were not Gus, you might have to feel a different way. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, so you guys, you have to step over some of these bodies as you're walking, but there's half a dozen or so as you walk down this 20-foot tall, 30-foot long hallway, and this hallway is carved more meaningfully. If you remember, the cavern walls were just carved roughly, right? They weren't ornate. Mm-hmm. This is, someone spent more time making sure this had a more distinct pattern, a more aesthetically pleasing to the eye pattern as you're walking down there. And after about 30 feet, this hallway exits into a large chamber. The ceilings are like 40 foot tall. The room itself is 50-ish feet wide, and it's big and circular. And you can see that there's these, as you guys all approach, because I assume you all will kind of walk in a little bit, even if it's just a couple feet, to kind of take in the view. You can see these benches that are spread out in this room that almost seem to have been carved from the mountain itself. And these benches spread around, and there's some gaps in them for aisleways and stuff like that. And in the center, you can tell that there's a small raised stage, almost like a pedestal that someone could speak from in the center of this room.
I'd like to go back and investigate the walls. Because they're purposely carved with patterns and things. I'm just kind of curious if there's other things we may have missed as we walked by, because now we're in a large arena type looking place. Maybe this will tell me if it's, I don't know, they have fight scenes on the walls where we just left or something.
Yeah, you go back and look at the walls and you don't see any tapestry designs or anything like that. It is just more the pattern itself almost invites you into this entryway. It doesn't feel like you're being pushed into battle. It's not serious. It's meant to entice you, the pattern. It's very simple lines, very simple geometry, but subconsciously it wants you to walk forward. Does that make sense?
Your grass real good.
Yeah. Or it's like when you go down somewhere with the hallways and they've got stripes, and even though it's very simple stripes, it kind of tells you to go a direction.
Okay, so some sort of arena or theater.
Or church.
Possibly church.
Or I don't know any other places.
What other places are there?
Definitely not a kitchen. That's really all I know.
looking around, is there any other exits from this room, or is this like the only way in and out of this big chamber?
On the opposite side of the chamber, you can see that there is another doorway with a door.
Open or closed?
It's closed.
First closed door.
We can go check out the door to see if we can open it.
Okay. And I did.
So you guys walk. Do you guys walk around the edge of the room? Do you guys walk straight through? Because if you go to that door straight, you're gonna go straight down the aisle, go around the pedestal, and then go straight to the door, or are you gonna go around the outside?
Around the outside, around the outside.
Definitely around the outside.
I mean, I'm going to step around the altar. I'm not going to go like out the altar and then back down the other side. I'm not going to walk like a straight line. But
No, you would either just go around the altar. You wouldn't it's not an altar in the stage. You wouldn't jump up on the stage, walk across, and jump down. But you could either go around, or you could go around the edge of the door, or the edge of the walls.
I don't see any reason to do that.
Okay, so Gus just walks straight, and Zira and Darlin, you guys take the wall.
Yes.
Kato, what about you?
I think at this point, I'm going to manifest an echo. I'm a little more hesitant right now. I'm just going to kind of be hanging back and watch them as they progress from the one side of the altar that I'm on currently.
So you're just going to hang tight?
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking around where we came in from. I'm kind of creeped out by this whole thing. So,
good choice. Gus, you approach the pedestal, the stage, and as you get closer, you notice there is a figure laying prone on the stage, laying still.
Does it look similar to the ones that I've been seeing?
It does not. As you approach, it starts to look more and more familiar. Do you continue to approach?
Yeah.
Do you hop up on the stage?
Yeah, I mean, if it looks familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
In what way?
It's not the other species. It's races or species you've seen. As you get closer, you're able to determine that it's not bestial in appearance. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll keep cruising to see what's up.
Yeah, so you climb up on the stage and you're able to ascertain that it's. Do you have dark vision?
I do.
You don't have dark vision, right? Oh, you do. Yeah, so you hop up on the stage and you very quickly determine it's a tiefling. And as you approach, you are able to recognize Vanessa.
V! I'm going to run over there with the quickness and make sure she's okay.
Yeah, you shake her and she lays unmoving. And you're able to
Pulse?
see the... Roll a medicine check.
I think with his yell, though, Darling's just gonna bolt from the wall and go back. Right, straight center.
Same.
Okay. That's a sibling. He
So
wouldn't have
everybody
yelled
charges
like
the stage.
Yep.
Got it. With a 23, you determine there is no pulse.
do you relay that? Is that what he said, or?
I think he'll just call out over his shoulder, V's down, she's not moving, I need help! And I'm gonna try to just chest compressions, cure wounds in there.
You would know with a 23 that she's dead.
I know, this is more of an emotional response.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, you do that. You start doing chest compressions.
Question.
And cast Cure Wounds. Answer.
You said I was aware that I wasn't too far behind Vanessa. Do I have any estimate of how far behind her I was? No? Okay.
No, you just know that you're ahead of them, and you didn't feel like you were that far behind her.
Okay.
But none of these letters are dated.
While they're doing that, I'm gonna immediately start searching for rats. What could have done this? This is now, 7 dead bodies? Like, I'm looking for scratch marks. I'm looking for things in the walls, holes, whatever. Anything.
Yeah, roll a perception check.
Thank you. Okay. That is 17.
You, with the 17, you're able to, you kind of walk around. You're able to determine that there is a path of disturbed dust from the entrance that you guys came in to the door, and the disturbed dust is almost like as if someone were dragging like a bag of gold or a bag of supplies or something like that. It's just like it's a path that has been dragged. Does that make sense? And that path leads to that closed door.
Hey guys, I'd be willing to bet all the gold on me that whatever's doing this is behind that door.
I think I don't even know if I hear at this moment. If she's still giving like chest compressions, stuff, things like that. I have my med kit out and I'm attempting all the things that I can do as well.
And so Gus, you are just hammering down. Kato, you've pulled out your med kit. You're trying to see if you can revitalize her, but
I think what we see is as this magical energy is coming out of Gustum, and he's like doing these chest compressions, like moss and lichen start to like grow up around her with like nowhere else for the energy to go.
It's like 3 compressions, and on the third compression there's like this pulse of energy that just ends up in the stage itself. Yeah, like these, like almost like this light that shines over her, only to meet the stage.
Nothing's happening. She's gone, guys. Could I see how she died? Like stab wound, anything, scratches?
Yeah, you can roll an investigation check.
Good luck.
It's been great so far.
15?
With a 15, your frail sister, you're able to, you kind of search her body. You're not sure what killed her, but what you do find in her hand, clutched tightly and stained with blood, is a letter.
I will take the letter and open it to read it.
I will send you this letter, Avon.
Okay.
On Discord. I will put it in the chat after Avon has her opportunity to read it. And you can read it for the podcast.
Oh, sweet. Oh, so she has a letter. It says, Vanessa, I found it. I found proof of a whole new race of people. This temple is theirs. They believe they are the protectors of something much greater than themselves. Much greater than Goron. Their language baffles me, but I think I found a sort of map in one of the artworks on the ceiling. If you look above you, you can see there is a lake nearby, and north of that there seems to be a symbol that I believe represents safety or family. There's a drawing right over here. But follow me there and leave this note behind. I'll see you soon. Love, Dad. And on there's a picture. She'll point out there's a sketch of a paw print with 3 claws in the front and 1 in the back.
Looks like the door was the death of your sister. I'm sorry you had to find it this way. Is there somewhere... Because I'm not going to just leave this body here, somewhere I could set it, like maybe for like a better just presentation, I guess, at this time, just kind of cover it up.
I mean, not really. You could put her on one of the benches. You could put her by the doorway, so you don't leave her on the way out.
A tent that I carry with me. I mean, I could put a tarp over her effectively.
Okay.
I mean, it would just be like a stretch of canvas, but
Do you do that?
At this, Zero will finally approach. Just... So she's actually gone then? Your magic couldn't...
And so she hasn't told us what the note said, correct?
She read it out loud.
loud.
She did read. Okay, that was the reading. Okay. Well, I guess we move forward.
By looking up, and she'll look up. See what's on the ceiling.
I would like to go ahead and cast dancing lights as well and provide more light straight up at the ceiling.
Yeah, and so when you guys look up at the ceiling, there's like this there's this mural that's been painted up there, and there's a lot of like swirling colors. Most of the colors are like darker colors, like dark reds, dark blues, dark greens, and they don't honestly make a ton of sense, but in the heart of this, there's almost this map that's like interwoven in there, and it's not super clear. Had you not had direct instructions to look for this paw print and this like body of water, you may not have seen it so immediately, but you can see a symbol that kind of represents the mountain that you're in, and there's like a almost like a cross mark on it that's like, don't go here. Then there's the lake, and then there's the paw, which is further north, and that he has spelled out to you guys that may be the home of what you're looking for. So the four of you sit in this chamber, staring up at this mural as the dancing lights slowly drift, casting shadows against the walls. What do you do next?
I think I'm ready to move on. We can see where the tunnels lead, and of course before we leave we'll be sure to take care of Vanessa.
Does she wear her Derringer medallion?
She does have it on her, yes.
Is it weird to take it like a dog tag?
I would do it.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab that and kind of just tuck it away in my pack.
Darling's just gonna write on the back of the letter their names. We're here.
Do you write the date too?
I'll write the date, and then she will also write "Found Vanessa dead." Look at the others. Are we going to just leave her or take her out there to bury?
I don't know.
I don't think we know where this goes just yet.
I don't know.
Might be best
Yeah, we
way.
Does anybody know what like her beliefs were? Like we're all like we're a rich cultural stew in the Derringer family, and I don't know if burying is cool. Cremation situation, put her on a Viking ship, I don't know. Could I make a religion check, perhaps?
You can make a history check to remember.
I rolled a 6.
Yeah, you remember even with a 6 that she wasn't super complicated. She wasn't that religious, and you remember offhand comment of her just saying like, burn my body or bury it. Just don't leave me for the wolves.
We could bring her back with us and lay her to rest in the estate.
do we have here? I mean, I don't know.
I think that's appropriate. I think that's
Maybe
appropriate.
she would go home, but she just we can't leave her here.
Okay, but do you have magics or materials to keep her from, if you're transporting a body that far? There's a lot of animals out there.
I'll take care of that.
On the topic, what do you guys want done when you die?
I reckon I'll probably get, eaten.
I'm not going to eat you.
Turn me into a jukebox.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I want you to. I assume I will be eaten by a monster. He who lives by the nom dies by the nom.
She gestures at Vanessa. Okay, if I find you like this.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I'm going to go in a way that an open casket is not appropriate. They're not going to be one piece of me, is what I'm trying to say.
Throw you in the wilds, got it.
I honestly,
Got it.
when my time comes, it'll probably be because I bit off more than I can chew. Fuck you, Dwayne. That's good.
It's good. I'm laughing. It makes me happy.
Darling will kind of rub the back of her head, fluff up all the short hair she's got. This is definitely a deep subject. I don't know. Bury me under the dirt and plant a whole bunch of plants on top. Sounds good to me.
Easy enough.
And you, though, I'd rather you go back home.
Okay, first of all, I beat you guys here. Second of all, if I go, I guess, burn the body and give the ashes to Ari to figure out what he wants to do with it. Insert note here, Ari is her twin brother.
Yes, the twins, of course.
How could we have forgotten?
I don't know what to tell you.
Where is Ari? Where is he now?
She'll shrug a little bit and is like, I don't track him everywhere. We're adults now, we can do whatever we want.
Wait, you guys get to do what you want now?
Don't.
Oh yeah, you left home, didn't you?
I know, but I still do the things that Dad told me I should
That's
do.
it. I'm number one.
I'm number one. I have to.
Kato, I don't know how to tell you this, but you don't have to follow your programming?
And then I leave the building, and the podcast is over for Kato.
I don't?
Anyway, if we're gonna go further in the tunnels, we should probably try to be a little quieter than we have been, so we don't attract whatever happened.
I would very much like to find what happened.
It will not be good for whatever did the happening.
Okay, well, let's figure out how to open the door and at least wrap her up until we walk back out the
Is it
other way.
inappropriate in this tense moment to not shave and a haircut?
You can.
I will approach it though.
Okay, you approach the door.
I'm gonna go ahead and activate one of my abilities, the Psychic Whispers ability. I feel like probably all of her siblings would have been aware of this at one point or another in time, but basically, she's establishing a telepathic connection with all of you that's bi-directional. You can now talk to her, and she can talk to you telepathically.
Doing the brain moves.
Yeah, and just here, we'll use this. Just stop being so loud.
I'm covered in pots and pans, but okay.
You don't have to whisper in the...
I guess you open the door. The door opens freely.
What do I see on the other side of the door?
You see a hallway that starts descending down.
I pull out a pot lid and I surf down TMNT style.
You pull out a pot, and the cavern, the hallway, and the amphitheater behind you is filled with the sound of metal against stone as you slide down. And you slide a good 40 feet. You pick up some speed as you hit the bottom, and you are catapulted into what looks like a small common room, and I'm going to say you crash into a wall. I'm not going to say you take any damage, but you absolutely crash into a wall and make a ton of noise.
What I would like
in
to
this
do
common room
is, as I'm falling, I would like to wild shape into a dire armadillo. I would like to become a ball of destruction.
At least it's not a hedgehog.
A dire armadillo. I don't have stat block for that, Dwayne. But I did.
Then no, you don't do that.
Dire.
So it's just gonna blink.
Fuck if I know.
Jeremy Crawford is tweeting about it like, who the fuck told him about the armadillos?
That's the fucking next thing. Who's leaking shit?
Always.
There's an
so
embargo.
loud. He was better
Yeah.
earlier. He was sneaking. Trust me.
For the record, that was a bit that I got held accountable to.
It happens.
Yeah. I it's a pecan bit all over again.
Yep.
I
Sometimes you're accountable.
feel like taking bets on who would be the next one to go is inappropriate at this point in time, but if we were, I mean, she's gonna start walking down carefully.
I don't remember Vera being this grim.
I mean, Gus would also hear that, right? Because you're all linked together.
Yeah.
Tell my story!
I'm gonna say, I'm putting down 2 gold. You're on.
In the red chat?
Damn!
In the group chat?
Oh yeah, in the group
In the
chat.
group chat?
Alright. 5 on Gus then.
You guys are lucky that it's against the tenets of my organization to poison people.
Not me, brother. I did not think you would be next.
I think the giggles are out loud though.
Yeah.
My
So
money's
do the
on
rest of you
Clarence.
follow?
Yeah, we followed
Do the
that.
rest of you follow? Okay. So you come into this common room when there's some seating. There's a couple tables. Now a little bit disheveled by Gus's crash entrance. And there's 5 rooms. And in these 5 rooms, sorry, not in these 5 rooms. There's 5 rooms here, and you can see their doors. They're all shut, but they're kind of spaced around. Do you guys want to investigate? You guys
Yes,
want to know
immediately.
about?
Yes.
What I'm looking for specifically, Dwayne, is what's been used most recently. That's what I'm looking for.
So you glance across, and the most recently used door is the one to your right. And I say most recently, you can just tell that it's less dusty than the other ones.
Okay.
So you open the door, and as you walk in, or as you open the door to see, there is... oh, you don't have dark vision.
I don't.
You open a door, and the room is black.
But I do, because I remember when I created my character that this would be a thing that I had to do. No, I didn't. I got a tinderbox, but I don't have anything.
I brought,
Hey, could you
I
guys like?
I brought torches.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you guys help a brother out? Like literally, I'm your brother. Could you help me out?
I'll send in one dancing light in that room.
Yeah, she sends in a dancing light. And as she does, this orb, this blue orb that kind of floats by you, as she does, this blue light begins to illuminate these stacks. On the left and the right, these stacks. And as it goes into the back of the room, you can see that the entire room is lined with these stacks of bodies. These stacks of bodies of these creatures that you saw on the way in.
All right, I
They-
immediately
they
like
lay
walk
still.
out of that room and shut the door.
Nothing in here.
This room
Just curses.
is
Full of curses.
is a burial room. There's just stacks on stacks on stacks of dead bodies. So next door.
Can I try to find that trail again on the ground if there is any? Like, can I try to see if there's any sort of trail to any of these doors, given that that one's the most recently used?
Yeah, you can see that this trail goes to a couple different rooms. And one of the rooms is the one on the right, and there's two others that, like, the trail is pretty prominent still.
Okay, I'll go to the one on the right.
So that's the one to the left
That's
of
what
you
it is.
just opened. Yeah. That's fine. You can just go one door over.
Yeah, go to the next one that has a trail to it.
Yep, you open it, you send in a light, you have dark vision. As you open the door, you're able to see in. This room is full of bodies lined along the edge of the room.
What level of decomposition are these bodies in?
They're similar to the ones you saw before.
Okay.
Oh, the ones we saw, like, walking in?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck.
So either real recent or well preserved.
Can I open a door that doesn't have a trail leading into it? I think those are all bodies.
Yeah,
People are
you open
dragging
just
bodies
far
in.
left. Yeah, you go to the far left door and you open it, and inside you immediately see you're greeted like 5 feet in with like a bookcase that's like blocking your view. So you see books.
I kicked that
Yeah,
bookcase
bookcase.
right the fuck over.
You kick that bookcase right the fuck over, and as you do, you hear a clattering as that bookcase hits another bookcase and hits another bookcase and crashes into that room. And as you step in, you can see there's bookcases lined along the walls as well.
Why
This room's
would
full
you...
of dominoes!
Hey, Gustum. I mean, I figured you knew the meaning of the word quiet, but I didn't stop to define it. It's not that.
I think that as you take a look at Gus now, evaluating his actions, he's not okay. He is. You can see like kind of his hair standing on end all over his body, and like he's got like veins protruding, and he's like clenched his fist. He is very upset.
So do you go further into that room with the bookcases to keep exploring?
I've got dark vision. If I get now that that line of bookcases out of my way, can I do a visual sweep of the room?
Yeah, you can look around and you can see that there's... I mean, it's not like you can see everything in the room because you kicked over a bunch of bookcases that were pretty tall. But you can see there's books, but there's paths around. It kind of looks like a study, like where somebody was going in and looking. And there's... On the left-hand side, you can see a table and there's a book that was, like, open.
There sound like there's some good clues in here. Rest of the party, I'm in it for blood, so I'm gonna go kick in the other door.
This is a temple. But...
So yeah, you go kick in the other door?
The one that didn't have a trail to it.
Yeah, so that's the last remaining room that didn't have a trail. So you kick in this door. And there's like an empty room almost. There's like a bed, there's like a nightstand, there's a wardrobe along against the end of the wall. It looks as described so far.
Yeah, so I'm really looking for... My vision is based on movement right now. So I'm scanning for any threat. If I don't see anything, then I'm just gonna kind of like shoulder slump, exhale. They're already gone.
Who?
Whoever did this.
Doesn't everything end here? We're just way too late?
What? No. Didn't you see the map?
Well, you checked 4 out of 5 rooms too.
Well,
Oh, I thought you said.
I guess for the sake of being thorough, I will check the other.
Yeah, you kick in this door. I assume you kick it in.
Still pissed.
Yeah, still pissed. And again, you see these. This room has bodies lined along it. It's not stacked quite as high as the other rooms, but there's definitely bodies there. And this room has because it's not essentially full. You can see the bed and the wardrobe that presumably the other ones may have.
I would like to go into the study room. I guess climb over a few things to check everything out in there.
Yeah, you kind of muscle over.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If it's
What are we looking for?
it's a study room, right? So you said
Yeah, there's books. There's a desk on the front left. There's a book open, and in the back there's another desk that now has a bookcase kind of crashed into it a little bit. There's some
I'd like to
seating that's been buried.
Start at the desk and the open book, and maybe look inside the desk as well. See what may have been recently disturbed, possibly. That wasn't.
Yeah. So there's not a drawer or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a desk that could sit at and read. But that book that's open, it's in a language you don't understand. But there's a sketch of a dragon, but not the type of dragons you're used to, where they have wings and stuff. It's more like a longer Chinese style dragon. Serpentine, yes.
Interesting. Just gonna pick it up, come back out. Hey, Kato, can you read this? She'll show it.
Let me see.
Add light.
Okay, now I will take that and give it a look. Is it a language I know, Dwayne?
Yeah, it is a language you know. And for the sake of brevity, you kind of just skim over that passage, and it talks about a god of flame and fire from another world that they worship.
And it's not a name that I would recognize from a conversation with Vanessa as far as her knowledge of things.
There is no name specifically. Okay. It doesn't say, Speros, the god of flame. The passage you read, you would have to read the entire book to try and ascertain more information. But the passage you're reading with that picture talks about a god of flame and fire from another world.
The information in this text just describes a god of some ability to produce fire, a flame. I'm not sure if he's consuming things or if it's for a good reason.
Does it say anything in there about, I don't know, sacrifices or death rites? Funeral rites?
That's pretty specific. Dwayne, I hit the Control F on this text. What do I get from that?
You're gonna have to spend more time reading it. You ain't got Control F for books. Sorry, buddy.
It's probably something we'll need to investigate further. If we want to take this, I can spend some time, but right now I think we need to make some other decisions about where to go.
Or where else to look.
All these rooms just have bodies, is that right, Gus?
Yeah.
And no other ways out?
Not that I could see.
So the ceiling wants us to go where? I feel like we're losing time about concerning whoever's done this or who is doing this.
We could go meet Storm.
Vanessa said to go to the mark in the north, I think, didn't she? In the note?
Well, Toddy did. It seems like a good start.
Vanessa's note, my apologies.
But Gus, we were to meet Stom when? Tomorrow? Is it the next day?
I'm foggy on the timeline thing yet.
About 3 days from now.
About 3 days.
You guys
About 3 days
arrived.
from now, okay.
Yeah, you got 3 days to explore. You're about a couple hours into this exploration.
I wonder if he knows about this.
I mean, this is obviously some kind of temple or something, right? So yeah, he probably knows about this place. I don't know if he knows about what happened to our sister.
Well, Dad wanted us to come this far. I think we just keep going. But we still need to be able to meet Stom. I think that is important. You built a bridge.
Still know to what?
Well, and there's also a room full of books.
Yep.
That you guys stumbled across.
Alright. Here's the idea I have, and you might be wrong, but what if Dad or Vanessa or someone came across this place and these guys were all already dead? Right? Like in the stadium? And so, being decent people, they put them somewhere where it was going to be stored. And not just out and about. But then someone else saw them and was like, hey, you're, trespassing. And then, Vanessa didn't make it.
Possible, but if they're being respectful to she'll like...
I don't know. Religions and temples are weird.
Kato, could you at least glance it over a little bit longer, at least from the start, and see if there's anything else?
If we have a little bit of time, I can see if there's any other text that might have something of importance, but...
I say you'd spend too much time here reading books. We'll get on the cart, and you can read on the cart while we go to wherever this map is pointing us. How about that?
Anything to give us some more information.
I would like to, while they talk, go into the book room and just kind of scan for any books that look important. Like, this is a religious place. Like, I don't know. I know that in, like, human religions, they might, like, line it with gold or whatever, like, make it look really pretty and important.
Yeah, there's like nicer books. Yeah, typically the more elegant books are the more important ones. Yeah, so you do. So you go in this room and you're kind of like looking around these bookcases and you're heading closer to the back under some of these fucking stacked bookcases that are now domino-esque. And you're getting near the back of that bookcase, or back of the room where that desk is kind of like half buried. And on that desk, under a bookcase, you see this thick tome with thick borders. And it looks old and now a little damaged. And at that point, I have to ask you, Vera.
It's Vera,
do me a favor and just... Oh, sorry, Zira. It is Zira. Somebody said Vera earlier. And
I did too, yeah, I screwed that up.
Yep. Let me know. It's very important. Does an 18 hit your AC?
Yes.
You feel across your shoulders claws dig into you. And on the back of your neck, you feel a bite. That's where we're going to end this episode.
Well,
Oh snap! Y'all can't see me, but my mouth is open and my eyes are wide. That's crazy.
would I be capable of cursing in that moment in everyone's heads?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, your ears are filled
curse?
with the words.
I don't curse. Someone.
Fuck,
might-
shit, damn it.
Ow! Ouch! Darn! Dang! Freak!
Oh, wonderful.
Double bubble boil in trouble. That's a curse.
Double bubble.
Double bubble boil.
All right, and with that, we are talking about rolling for first book.
First Book is a really great organization. They help promote literacy, which is important. So yeah, you should join us in Roll for Humanity. We rolled an 8. There you go, First Book. Have $8.
Yay!
Yay!
We rolled an 8 on the 8.
Oh snap!
I guess
gotta
it's
mean
actually
something.
September 27th, but we're recording on the 8th, so
Yeah. Nerds.
Take that, nerds.
We're big in the future, idiots.
Take that. And then our quote of wisdom that we shall leave you with. Why is that face weird? Anyways, quote of wisdom. Never mistake knowledge for wisdom. One helps you make a living, the other helps you make a life.
Wow.
Okay. Can't argue with that.
Yeah,
They can't all be winners.
Who said the quote?
Sandra Carey. First to the Google.
this it just makes me think of like the scene we just saw. I know this is not the way that the quote was supposed to be, but it's like if you didn't follow your gut feeling that something bad was probably going to happen here, and you wanted more knowledge, well, you know, wisdom would have made the life. But
Be that way though.
I mean, knowledge is half the battle. The other half is, I don't even know what the other half is. The G.I. Joe's always tell us knowledge is knowing is half the battle.
They just tell us what.
What's the other half?
I think that's combat.
The action? Okay.
Yeah, that's combat war.
Dang it.
But yeah. Hey, Neko, this is your guest episode. As a part of being an extra special, super happy time patron, and now you get a platform to talk about whatever the fuck you want. If it's super inappropriate,
We'll edit you out.
We'll drag you out back and shoot you.
I just said welcome. You're
have
among
fun.
friends.
Cause chaos.
wow, okay,
Cause
put on the
chaos.
spot. Well, thanks for letting me play with you guys. I will say that for the listeners, this is a super ultra happy Patreon time. We get to listen in and hear all the jokes that they cut out. So, you know, really in crowd. I don't really know what to talk about, really, so I'm just gonna say thanks for having me, and I hope you enjoyed my little character. She was supposed to be just a little off, and I think I accomplished that. So,
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah,
love
very
you.
much.
Thanks. Bye.
This just hangs up on the call.
You gotta wait for Dwayne to say we love you.
No, I don't love you. Goodbye.
He already said we love.
Well, what is it? What is it Devin was supposed to say? Like we always say,
My hemorrhoids racked up.
we love you.
We love you.
They make like medicated wipes, witch hazel.
They do not work as well. You would think so.